We have Ann Peterson here today, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about vision loss and blind and vision services. Hi, Ann. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing well. Tell me a little bit about how you got started in blind and vision services.
Well, I worked most of my time in Pennsylvania, Northwest Pennsylvania, but we had rehab agencies in several locations across the state of Pennsylvania. So I worked there for about a little over 40 years. And then when we moved to Florida, I was hired as a rehab services consultant for about a little less than a year before I retired for the second time.
What services are out there to assist older adults with any vision loss that they might be experiencing?
There are a variety of services for older adults. Every county has, every county in Florida is covered for providing services, but the services might vary from county to county.
Same with the rest of the United States as well, correct?
Correct, correct. Every state has its own rehab agency, and they often vary from county to county too. So, for example, rehab skills training is offered across the state of Florida in every county, and most of the time the services are free. I made notes because I don't want to get off track. Rehab skills training encompasses the broadest group of training. It can include training to organize kitchen cupboards, closets, food in the refrigerator, marking and labeling medications, canned goods, filing mail and bills. It can also include teaching cooking, baking, meal planning, grocery shopping, sewing, measuring hot and cold liquids, eating skills, pouring and marking appliances, and the thermostat sometimes, and doing laundry, among other things. Rehab instructors can introduce technology items that make life easier, safer, and more interesting. For example, smart devices can be used to turn the lights on and off, or to lock or unlock doors. Rehab instructors can also research community resources that can be beneficial for an individual, such as support groups, book clubs, exercise groups, friendly callers, and other community resources. They can suggest services from the Department of Welfare, rent rebate, veterans services, and Social Security that may financially benefit individuals. Rehab staff can also help the individual explore activities to do with their families, such as audible, tactile games, and large print activities.
If I were meeting with somebody in assisted living and I noticed that they had significant vision loss, what would be my next steps in making a referral to a vision and blind agency?
You can contact that agency, preferably by phone, and that's how the whole interview process starts. They would assign a person to come and evaluate the person who is visually impaired and find out what that person's needs are. They may suggest different types of evaluations. They may suggest a program like the Talking Book program, which is a free program across the United States. And they can also make the application for the talking books and the equipment. They might suggest other services like the rehab services that we discussed, or they may feel there's a need for orientation and mobility training, which is getting safely from point A to point B. And for someone in an assisted living facility, that may be just orienting them to their room, their surroundings, how to organize their closet so they know that they're not wearing a polka dot blouse with plaid slacks. It may involve getting from their room to the dining room or the laundry room or the activities room or even a friend's room. So that's all included in orientation and mobility training. That is usually done with the mobility cane or the long cane, which you would use and move across the floor in front of you to locate any obstacles.
If our patients are using walkers and wheelchairs, can they still receive orientation and mobility services?
They can. The orientation and mobility instructor can help them by learning to use their other senses to locate where they are in the building.
As care managers, when we go out for our monthly visits to see people at assisted living facilities, what can we do to make our clients' lives easier if they have vision loss?
You can just do a general assessment. You can ask the clients if they read their own mail, and if they're able to read their own mail, and if so, where do they read their mail? For example, if they're sitting in a dark corner, they may experience trouble with reading mail. You might suggest moving over to a window or opening a curtain or placing the lamp closer to the chair so that they have access to the best lighting that there is possible. You may suggest using bump dots or puff paints to help people locate things better. Sometimes you can use a bump dot on your phone to locate the home key, or if they have microwaves in their rooms, to bump dot some of the numbers on the microwave. Not all of them, but some, the key buttons on the microwave. You can ask them if they like to read. Usually the answer is, well, I can't read anymore, or I have a hard time reading. Then you can suggest the Talking Book program, which is a wonderful program.
Do you have any other tips that might help us?
I know sometimes there's a lot of paperwork involved when you go to interview a client or work with a client. So it's a good practice not just to shove the papers in front of people to sign, but to maybe sit beside them or close to them and point to the line where you would like them to sign. Or if you have a Sharpie marker with you, you can draw a thicker line for the signature line, so it might be a little bit easier for them to locate the signature lines. I also think it's a good idea to ask people when you meet them what they can see. Now you may know if someone is totally blind, you may be able to tell that. But most people have some vision, whether it's peripheral vision or tunnel vision, And I think it's helpful, at least for you, to know what that person can see. So they may describe to you, well, I can tell that you're wearing uh, brown slacks and a pink top, or I can see um, I can see a pencil on the table, or I can see that it's daylight outside, or I can see forms, but I can't see details on someone's face. I think that's always helpful.
Could you tell me a little bit more about assistive technology for an older age group?
Something that you might want to recommend would be a CCTV, which is a closed circuit TV. They are not TVs at all, they're monitors with a camera in them. And so if you have mail, for example, you can put the mail on the tray, the moving tray of the CCTV machine, and the camera will enlarge it on the screen. So someone who may not be able to read regular print might be able, with the use of the CCTV, to read printed material, mail, look at pictures of their loved ones, uh, read their bills, um, read a book or an article on a magazine. So CCTVs are wonderful. They may have to get a low vision exam from a low vision doctor to qualify for that type of equipment, but it would be best just to call the local agency, the Lighthouse, or one of the other agencies for visually impaired, to get that process started. Another thing, uh, and it makes a great gift if the family asks, well, what should I get you? An Alexa or a Siri would be a great gift, because you can say, Alexa, what's the weather like out today? Or who won the Bucks game? I fell asleep last night. Or play some hymns, or play some jazz.
What is the benefit of making a referral to the local agency for the blind and visually impaired?
Rehab services for the blind and visually impaired give people the tools they need to take control of their lives.
That's great. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Thanks for interviewing me.